Welcome, EKoM. My camera is not working properly. How are we doing? While I sort my camera out, big up to everybody that went to Raw Tree. Big up to Sam, especially Sam. He did a legend amount of work. And we continue with the Greta Royal Schwabien reset. Enjoy the intro. I spent all morning making this. Look what I can do when I have time off. Check it out.
Curfew is now in effect. All unauthorized citizens must stay indoors. Don't worry.
Poll by YouGov done at the time of the Platinum Jubilee just this last May found that 62% of Britons said their country should continue to have a monarchy in the future, with only 22% saying it should instead move to having an elected head of state. But there's a stark generational divide. Asked if the monarchy is, quote, good for Britain, 74% of those 65 and up say yes. 67% of those 50 to 64. But ages 25 to 49, the number drops to 49. And among the 18 to 24-year-olds, it's just 24%. Today's front page of the New York Times has this headline: in London, mourning for Queen exposes a generational divide. Support for monarchy fades among the youth. There's a chance that post-Elizabeth, the affection for the whole system may splinter. Some of that may just be youthful hostility that could soften over time. Look no further than England's new Prime Minister herself. Back in 1994, Liz Truss gave a fiery speech calling for the end of the monarchy.
We do not believe that people should be born to rule, or that they should put up and shut up about decisions that affect their everyday lives. We met another group of people and another group of people, and all three groups of people said, abolish the monarchy. In fact conference, we couldn't find a single monarchist outside the royal pavilion. How ironic.
Now, of course, in her new position of power, Truss ended her public condolence speech for the Queen on Thursday with "God Save the King," a phrase that hasn't been uttered in England for 7 decades.
Get to the chopper! Willkommen, meine creator peasants, my creator dwelling peasants. How are we doing? We are on my backup channel. Why is that? Because they decided to give me a strike for an 8-month-old video. Yeah, we literally, this platform, I'm just sort of music out a bit. This platform, I don't know how long I'm going to be on this platform for. I've been talking to Sam about, and the rest. About moving to Odyssey, or even I might just start my own website. So yeah, everybody's in a state of recovery, I think. Let me just play you a tiny little clip here. Yeah, I'm just gonna play this actually. Oh, there we go.
Because we're soldiers, in this war we fight. We fight for the power, demonstrate our sound. Rise above posse, yes we touch it down. In either way we must these lyrical messages to write your avenues and terraces. If you went down with us, I'll be your nemesis. I'll shake your brain inside this go until you need a therapist.
But I want to play this one. You can see me dancing away a bit too much, actually. Let me just sort out here. Yeah, anyway, where are we? Here we go. This got me this clip because this is amazing. Why is it going horizontal when I do that? That's just ridiculous. Do you know what? This platform, I'm getting tired of this platform. I even thought, should I just switch to Odyssey now? Because I'm just, yeah. Anyway, check the video out. This is what we got up to the weekend. Big up to Lance. Big respect to Lance and Andy, Magix, everybody who organised it. It was amazing. Yeah, check it out. All 5 hits. So you got Lance, Andy PG, Andy Oma Beats, Magix, me, and Master Lee all doing a bit of skanking on stage at Raw Treat. Check it out.
Because we're soldiers, in this war we fight. We fight for the power, demonstrate our sound. Rise above posse, yes we touch it down. In either way we must these lyrical messages to write your avenues and terraces. If you went down with us, I'll be your nemesis. I'll shake your brain inside this go until you need a therapist.
You can see me on the right, orange t-shirt. But it was good. It was pretty amazing, I must say. It was really good. So, on that note, we've got a lot to talk about.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
We are going to need a big boat at this point. So back to the show. I've got some music to find. So yeah, I actually started the stream about half an hour ago, and started it. And when I started it, it said there was a duplicate stream set up. Like, so I just restart my PC. It was like, yeah, just clogged up, etc. So enjoy Knights of Malta. I wonder why I got in trouble last week. Maybe I'm over the target.
Something very big is coming, my people. I can feel it in the air. I feel it in my spirit. And the visions that I'm having are non-stop. Last night vision, let me tell you about it. I was sitting in my chair, my thinking chair like I am right now. And all of a sudden I seen water just rise up to the floor. And I looked up the window and I seen a massive tornado about to touch the ground. My first instinct was like, oh, I gotta find my granddaughter. So I found my granddaughter, Skylar, but my great niece, Ainsley, was with her as well. So I grabbed her and had them both, and I ran out of the house. And then my wife was up there, but then the storm was over. But there was no power, no internet. And there were military soldiers everywhere. And he asked me if I had any sand. I know my life. I know my calling. We need to get ready. Something big's coming.
Here we are at Bereksurány, at the help center, as we call it. This is a reception area for the refugees and also a meeting point for them with their families, relatives, and friends.
I have a cat. Yes.
This serves as a shelter place for those who have no transport means or accommodation. This is of course just a temporary shelter place. We can shelter them.
I regard it as a special and happy occasion, this meeting between us, the holder of supreme authority in your great nation, who's defended and is defending the principles of democracy and of man's freedom, and the head of an order which has placed its sovereignty at the service of the poor and the suffering, and so of freedom from want. This meeting is taking place at the moment when you're about to conclude your long and distinguished period of service. Conscious and proud of having ensured for your country an era of renewed trust and hope, and of having given to our tormented world a reasonable possibility of peace. The Grand Master, on the other hand, finds himself at the beginning of his service and in need of strong support, not only from his confrere in the order, but also from all men of goodwill. And goodwill in your noble nation, Mr. President. It manifests itself in the generous and outstanding assistance which the American associations, the second...
On screen now is a clip. I didn't actually get to play this. So let me find my screens here. Sorry, guys. I didn't get to play this on the Knights of Malta episode, but I did want to play it now because, again, it's, you know, honestly, we've got a lot to go through today, actually, as well. Only 10 people watching, but, you know, it was so nice to see my channel grow, and then you get just hit down with it. Smackdown, bullshit, you know. Anyway, quick shout out to the chat and back to the show. SS, great to meet you too, mate. It was really good meeting. Buffer B, welcome. Sam, welcome. Bishop Matt, way I man. How you doing? Good to meet you too, mate. Matthew Reynolds, how you doing? Is that Matthew? Yeah, that is Matthew. Yeah, I'm sure I met you. Or Matt James. Anyway, so many people. I, welcome. Idiot Sandwich, always better when you're at home. Luxury Turtle, how we doing? Gary Elliott. Non-corn for me, so how could I forget? And yeah, let's continue with the show. I'll be back in a bit.
Largest one in the sovereign order gives to developing countries. This is an activity in which especially as regards the Latin American countries, the ways of your nation and those of the sovereign order easily meet. The American knights and dames have, in addition, taken a leading role in combating the scourge of AIDS and the terrible plight of the hungry and the homeless. More importantly, Mr. President, you defended the rights of the unborn spiritual values. The Order of Malta was and is an aristocracy of service. The order can confer on a head of state the collar of the Order of Merit of the Sovereign Hospitaller Order of Malta, in recognition of all that you and your government have done to help reduce human misery. And I trust that this act, first in the history of the order with regard to an American president, may represent the beginning of ever closer relations, not only with the numerous American confrères, but also with the entire American people. Allow me, Mr. President, to conclude this brief address with the expression of my warmest wishes and those of the Order's government for serenity and happiness in this new phase of your life.
Just have a listen to what he's saying, okay? Very interesting. 1989 this was as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Your Eminences, Your Excellency, Your Most Eminent Highness, President Peter Grace, and ladies and gentlemen, tonight for me is a moment from humility. To stand here before you, the members of the most ancient order of its kind in the world, formed in the Holy Land 900 years ago, or as some of us would say, only yesterday. But to stand in this way before the members of this order with its remarkable history, which speaks to the entire ebb and flow of Western civilization and its noble present, which is a monument to the highest values of free men and women, is to be reminded once again that the only true calling of man is service to God, and to have served in that calling is cause not for pride, but for gratitude. Today, as for 9 centuries, you, the knights and dames of Malta, serve the victims of poverty, hunger, and disease. I've often noted that in America, we have a tradition that began when the first community of settlers joined together to help build a home for a newcomer. The tradition of neighbor helping neighbor, the tradition of the barn raising, and the settlement house and the church-run hospital. The tradition that Tocqueville spoke of in wonderment more than a century and a half ago, when he observed that when there was a job to do, Americans didn't wait for the government, but pitched in and did it for themselves. Well, yes, an American tradition, but one more ancient and universal as well, of which history offers few examples more crystalline and enduring than the Knights of Malta. Now, if I may tell you a story, you don't find this spirit of love and mercy everywhere, which makes you appreciate it all the more when you do find it. When I was still fairly new in my former line of work, the movie business, I was cast to play opposite Errol Flynn in a picture called The Santa Fe Trail. The movie was really about John Brown, the abolitionist who led the famous raid on Harper's Ferry. Raymond Massey played John Brown, and he gave his character that perfect touch of insanity. Mike Curtiz directed, and I've always thought the studio picked the perfect man to direct a film about a madman. To give you an idea of what I mean, we'd reached the end of the picture, the scene in which they hanged John Brown when Mike flew into one of his rages. He was furious. He'd just discovered he couldn't actually hang Massey. And he'd have to use a dummy instead. Well, then he started moving around the actor who was playing the minister who stood by Brown on the scaffolding. He was setting up the shot, looking through the camera viewfinder and motioning to the actor to move about, first left, then right, finally back. And the poor fellow took one step too far back, fell 12 feet from the scaffold and broke his leg. Mike walked across, looked down
on one
where
of
he
my
lay on the
videos,
ground,
I
turned
was
to his
asked,
assistant and
is
said,
the
"Get me
meteor
another
and
minister."
volcano event going to be connected to each other?
If only I could treat Congress
And
that way.
the more you research this,
But to return to faith, hope, and love, your work with the ill, in particular those with leprosy, now those with AIDS, your partnership with Americans and its president, Bob Macaulay, to move medicine to those in need all over the world, your support of Mother Teresa's care for the poorest of the poor, your work feeding the hungry in Latin America. These are some of the highest examples of love, compassion, and mercy in our time. They show the power of faith moving in the modern world. I've heard a lot about this being the era of greed, usually from those who really mean the taxes are too low.
Okay, right, enough of Reagan, but
I wish these critics would explain.
You know, he's an actor. It's like this guy in Eastern Europe, you know, an actor. They're all actors. It's all an illusion, honestly. What I know, you know, it is all an illusion. And we're going to come into this in a little bit. Just trying to get my things right here. Oh, there we go. Right. Yeah. So now we're going to go into a channel, excellent channel, Israel Die Go Riviera, The Real Genius 2.
on one of my videos I was asked, is the meteor and volcano event going to be connected to each other? And the more you research this, the more it comes to light that there could be a combination of events. That the collapse of La Palma will be blamed on the meteors. That the meteors will be blamed for causing some kind of quake.
Right, if you followed my work over the last little while, I'll just bring my video back on screen. Yeah, you know, I've talked about this as well, and however they're going to do it, we all know something's coming, and it's the Volcasteroid, exactly. So, Buffer B, yeah. Gary Elliott, you were words, mate. You're brilliant. I can remember. Yeah, but are the sheep farm in the chat? Where's sheep farm? Matthew Reynolds. Anyway, sheep farm were good last night as well. But we'll continue. But we're going to get into this. I'm going to show you some of this. Not an EMP. Project Thor, Rods of God, Vibration, Earthquakes, and Poseidon, Russia, the Belgorod submarine, which is massive. Also, guys, that video was removed. The one touching on China, what's happening. You know, they are all over my account. Not this one, the other account. They are, yeah, wasn't it last year? Yeah, but it's still on the cards. It really is. How you doing, Sheep Farm? How you doing, mate? Is that Dom or Chris? I can never tell. I think it's Dom, but I can never do it anymore. I'm only just getting my voice back as well, to be honest. But we'll continue because I do think this is important, and just watch it. This guy's brilliant as well. Big up to, I think he watches my channel now and again. I'll give him a mention. I'll comment on this video. Anyway, back to the show.
Or loosening of the ground in La Palma, and this will cause the tsunami. It looks like it's going to be some kind of combined event, and both, I believe, will be man-made. Yesterday in Scotland you had a meteor light up the sky, and they say it was a piece of space junk, so it was man-made.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
It is easy for man to create meteors, and what I believe is that this meteor event, they will use it to try and change the world, along with the La Palma event. And we have here in the Simpsons series 24 episode 9, you have an EMP, you have Homer warning about the end of the world. Now you also have this in another episode of The Simpsons. In another episode of The Simpsons you have the 4 men of the apocalypse from the book of Revelation. So you can connect predictive programming in different programs and adverts. They all relate to each other. They're all saying the same kind of thing. Of a zombie apocalypse, a meteor, a volcano and a tsunami. Now in this bit of predictive programming, the books next to Homer are Ice World, Los Angeles. This could mean that the pole shift will take us into a new ice age. And the second book is Volca Asteroid. Volca Asteroid. So it's combining the volcano and the asteroid. Volca Asteroid. That's La Palma and the meteor. And it looks like the meteor event will come first, and then La Palma will come after it, as a result of the meteor. And then it has a book called Kathy Griffin, Even Armageddon Won't Stop Me. So in the Economist magazine Next Catastrophe, it says how to survive the next catastrophe, where you have 7 pictures. Now the predictive programming is always the same, and I'll show you this in different bits, different adverts and different clips of The Simpsons. So here we have The Simpsons. Remember that the meteor will cause an EMP. So there's a meteor coming towards the Earth. Volca Asteroid, one of the Doomsday books next to Homer.
Conspiracy music guru. I've known.
So, what have you learned so far from our post-apocalyptic movie marathon?
Guys who call themselves preacher or deacon are very bad. Water is money, unless gasoline is money. And even though lots of things are razor sharp, no one ever shaves.
Hollywood.
So what he's saying to you is that Hollywood have been programming you through these apocalyptic films to accept the events that are coming. And so the bigger the lie, the more people will believe it. When this event happens, people are going to be dumbfounded, and they won't question the fact that all it is actually man-made. It's all orchestrated by man. So we have this clip from The Simpsons about the apocalypse and the comet impact. Now when we go to the comet impact, you'll see that it targets the United States, and you have zombies on the meteor.
I'm hungry.
Look, you can have potato chips now. Or if you wait 10 minutes, you can have all the brains you can eat.
I want both.
So you have the meteor, you have the zombies. The zombies relate to the monkey magic. Primates walk like zombies. So what it's saying is that this is a de-evolution. A zombie walks like a primate, like an ape. This is to do with the monkey magic, the programming of the monkey magic. You have the combined disasters card in the Illuminati game cards. Now, has this event already happened with the Japan tsunami? Or is it that this will be the the volcano and the meteor. Will the meteor event be worldwide? Is that why we have the different continents, the different colours of the continents, which symbolise the Olympic rings, the different continents? And it says you may combine two disasters. Now on the Fukushima one you had the nuclear and the tsunami, but could this also refer to the volcano, La Palma, and the meteor event, combined disasters, as you had in The Simpsons, that book Volca Asteroid? Now it can be read as 255, or could it be read, the clock here, because the hands are difficult to see which one is the longest one, could it be 1111? So you have combined disasters, you have the Simpsons clip, Volca Asteroid, The Simpsons, the zombies, all of it you have in the Illuminati game cards as well. So you have the same predictive programming, the meteor, everything. Now this advert for Freeview TV, drawing the Free Love Freeway, which was on British TV, saying in 2018, advertising British TV, it's set in America, it's set on Route 66, the Devil's Highway, and it has a car, a Mustang, a red Mustang, which is known as a warhorse or horseman. So it represents one of the horsemen of the apocalypse, and it's going down Route 66. Now this advert is full of the similar predictive programming, but this advert gives us a timeline. So let's play it. You have the devil's horns on the car, you have a snake which looks like the F of Freeview of a snake. This model was actually called a Cobra Mustang. You have the three lights here, the three lights here, the 33 of Freemasonry. Devil's horns, Devil's Highway, Route 66. The F looks like a snake, or it looks like a lightning strike. We've had the Russian invasion of Ukraine with lightning strikes. Now this, as I say, this car is known as the Horseman, so it represents one of the horsemen of the apocalypse. Again, you see this in The Simpsons, you see it in the Economist magazine cover. And so this indicates that war will be continuous throughout these events. World War III. So we have the Big Brother, all-seeing eye, with lightning strikes, with a star. It looks like a communist symbol. Remember the lightning strikes you've had with this invasion of Ukraine by Russia. You have the BB, and the BB looks like 1313, 33 of Freemasonry, 33. Big Brother, lightning strikes, Lucifer or Satan fell down to earth like a lightning bolt. All-seeing eye. This seems to refer also to China, that after these events we will be in a war with China. So star, also North Korea. So you can see all-seeing eye, lightning strikes, the symbolism we see today. So we've had the Ukraine invasion by Russia with the lightning bolts and the Z symbolism. Z symbolizes the lightning bolt. The meteor is called Project Thor. The meteor weapon system is called Project Thor, and that weapon system, Thor, has a lightning bolt. You have the Jubilee. He celebrates the Jubilee here. The unstoppable train. Nothing can stop these events. Then he comes to the crossroads in Route 66. In Route 66 there is a crossroad called the Devil's Crossroad. So in Route 66, the Devil's Highway, there's actually a specially part of the road that's called the Devil's Crossroads. So the crossroads is where you meet the devil, and it says that beyond this point things are going to change. And you see the other three men of the apocalypse, Peaky Blinders. And you had the Peaky Blinders guy do the ceremony for the Commonwealth Games, which had a sacrifice to the bull god Molech. It's time for sacrifice. These events will be on TV, and it says Hollyoaks. Now the oak symbolises the Druids. The oak was celebrated as the tree of knowledge in the 2012 Olympics, and according to Jordan Maxwell, in Hollywood, the holly stick is what the magician uses to cast his spells. Holly oaks. The Horsemen of the Apocalypse, you have Roy's Rolls Cup. That's from Coronation Street. Coronation, as is in the Next Catastrophe. Here we go. Next Catastrophe, Coronation Street ducks, dead duck, symbolising the death of the Queen. Crown bug, nuclear explosion, this is probably Ukraine. Solar flare, that will create an EMP from the corona, the crown, the seventh chakra, the Keter, the crown of Freemasonry, the crown of the Kabbalah, as well as the crown of the British crown, and the death of the Queen. You have the meteor, you have the volcano, Volca asteroid. That will cause the sea levels to rise. You have the pig, holy practices, body parts, or the banks. You have these masks. The cat looks like a monkey. Monkey masks in the Soviet Union, these were called. He does not have one because he didn't take the potion. This is to do with the monkey magic.
Even here? Why are you even here anyway?
And so we have these events again, repeated again, as we have them in The Simpsons, and in other episodes of the Economist magazine, and in this Freeview advert. So we have the Roy's Rolls Cup, death, shows you it's tipped over, death of the Queen. There we go, death of the Queen, corona. The other three men of the apocalypse go past. Peaky Blinders just did the Commonwealth Games opening ceremony with Moloch, the bull. Time for sacrifice. And then we have the meteor from X Factor. 24-hour police custody, so everything will be shut down. Hush sign of the Rosicrucians. He has a sovereign ring, sovereign crown. He is also hooded, the Brotherhood. After this, it's like Bush Tucker's trial. Everything's like Mad Max. Then we have what looks like La Palma, Love Island. You've had strange deaths on this program, and before the crown bug, they were actually going to be filming on La Palma, but because of the crown bug, they stayed in where they do it now in the Balearic Islands. But they were actually going to film this in the Canary Islands. So Love Island, that I think refers to La Palma. And then you have the fighting giraffes. This symbolises the Rothschilds. A species of giraffe is named after the Rothschilds. This advert was actually filmed in South Africa, but it's meant to represent Route 66. This seems to be the World Cup, and lots of balls. Again, you have the same symbols, the same predictive programming in many. And then we have the zombies again, and it flashes to the crown just before the zombies. Flashes to the crown. Crown bug. Zombies. They walk like primates. This is to do with the monkey magic. To the blue car of Freemasonry, red car, blue car, and then we go to a new age. The Thunderbird, which is like the phoenix, comes out of the Mount Rushmore, and we go into a new age. There you go, into the new age. All these things are all related, and this is why you can connect the dots in different parts of predictive programming, and it looks like that the actual event, the meteor event, will then lead to the collapse of La Palma. Thank you.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Curfew is now in effect. All unauthorized citizens must stay indoors.
So, right, we're back. I've just moved something around, which does actually make my life a lot easier, but yeah. Anyway, one sec, guys. I'm just live editing the show. Let's see. So, yeah. We are...
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I think we are gonna need a bigger boat, aren't we? It's relentless. Like, me bombing at the dome at Ratry, somebody check the chat. It's just relentless. Like, even at Ratry, Dom showed me this screenshot, 33 million viewers. You know, just relentless. And yeah, also Dom, the Space Needle. I might have time to do it today. I've got a bit more stuff to go through, but I'm just putting everything together. And yeah, it's. But I think that guy, he's brilliant at his. What's the word? Breaking down of the symbolism, etc. Really, really good. So, next clip we have done that one. What was the next one? Not that one. Right, I'll tell you what we'll start doing. So we're gonna have a little look now. We're gonna. No, I'll do it now. No, I'll play Golden La Palma, actually. I'll drop this in here. Let's continue with what the guy was saying about... where's that gone? Software is acting weird today. The fuck has just happened? Sorry, guys. Oh, bollocks. It's the wrong bloody... Right, give me 2 minutes, guys. 2 minutes. Actually, I'll play you a clip of... because this sort of relates... This is a good clip here. Why billionaires won't save us, and they will not save us. Check it out. Let me check the chat before we go, actually. A few people watching tonight. Hi, Catherine, how you doing? It's, I was saying, like, woke up Tuesday... And I got an email from this platform, just, you know, so I can keep my other channel going, but if they disagree with anything I say, they're going to take it down. So what do? Do you bank all the episodes? I made them all private, leave it for 2 months, go back to it? I don't know. I don't know what's right anymore, because, you know, where we are, where we are, yeah, it's playing. Where we are right now, you know, like, if I stay in this platform, I don't speak freely. But we have to abide by the Army of Darkness as rules, you know. Big up the Army of Darkness. You know, it's just like these people. Even I appealed the cut strike, and it was like not even 2 minutes. I got a reply back, no. And there's no option even to have any discussion with them. There's nothing. There's no nothing. It's just bullshit. Anyway, let's play that clip. We're going to look into the Rothschilds now. Find some quite interesting clips. There we go. Oh, no, we'll play this one actually. This is the one. Check it out.
On January 25th, 2021, a group of elite billionaires and political movers convened through their screens for the World Economic Forum, also known as Davos. If ever there was an event that laid bare just how strong the connection between money and power is, this would be it. Across the span of 4 days, thought leaders, politicians, and billionaires basked in the light of their ideas like
fair economic and social systems, technologies for good,
and how to save the planet. In short, it's a conference for the global ruling class to decide how they think the world should work and to put those ideas into action. Davos is just one example of elite do-gooding and philanthropy in the billionaire class. At first glance, big-ticket donations seem great, especially for climate action. More money towards crucial initiatives, right? Well, as we'll soon see, billionaire philanthropy is far from the social good we paint it out to be. This video is sponsored by CuriosityStream, which now comes with Nebula for free when you sign up using the link in the description. For a venture fund that invests in fringe climate technologies like cloud seeding. And finally, Jeff Bezos stomped into the climate philanthropy space by establishing a $10 billion Earth Fund, which will dole out grants to climate-oriented nonprofits and for-profits over the next 10 years. While these gifts initially seem impressive, even a cursory glance at the math reveals otherwise. Musk's $100 million reward is just 0.06% of his wealth as of writing this. That's the equivalent of someone with a net worth of $40,000 giving away $23. And to add insult to injury, his $100 million prize is actually spread out over a number of different winners and runners-up. So the grand prize is really only $50 million. Jeff Bezos' $1 billion fund is definitely larger, but still insignificant considering he's currently the wealthiest man on the planet right now, and the sum is being handed out over a 10-year period. So really, the fund is granting just 0.51% of Bezos' net worth every year. But these quick calculations are just the tip of the iceberg. If you dig even deeper, the new world of climate philanthropy is a lot less about changing the world than philanthropists would like us to think.
It's these nice deeds, this sprinkling of nice deeds that help us uphold a system in which rich people can monopolize the future, hoard progress, and kill the American dream. And not satisfied with that, they're trying to kill the planet now too.
That's Anand Giridharadas, author of Winners Take All. This clip perfectly demonstrates how philanthropy, especially in the climate space, is more of a charade than an actual avenue for change. Philanthropy should be seen less as an act of altruism and more as an act of self and wealth preservation. Philanthropy, as far back as Rockefeller and Carnegie, works to benefit.
The reason I'm playing these clips, guys, okay, because I think they're important to understand the mind of the philanthropist, okay? So let me sort this out here. You know, like the mind of a philanthropist. We do not understand how these people think, period, okay? I was listening to someone talk about it. Someone was talking about it, and these people, you know, ancient bloodline families, these ancient people, these ancient families, ancient people, you know, they do not think like us. They have a totally different mindset. You know, it's like when we see a homeless person, obviously we have empathy, depends what sort of person you are, but when you see a homeless person, you feel empathy, you feel sorry, you look at them and you think, you know, you feel sorrow. Now, let's switch that over to the army of darkness, you know, that's what I call them, just generalized term. These people will not feel the same. I'm pretty goddamn sure they won't. They will not feel empathy. They will not feel a state of sorrow or sadness. They will not feel that. You know, it's crazy. It really is. So, back to the little bit of information about philanthropists. Very interesting subject. This is ridiculous. You know, someone's got to give soon. Something has got to give soon. And what's it going to be? You know, I sometimes think, is it possible to win? But what is winning in what we're living through now? What is winning? Happiness? That's what I'm starting to think it is. Even when they striked me on YouTube, I thought, for a split second, like what Max Eigen said, I thought, you know what? Nah, I'll carry on.
Fit billionaires in three main ways. The first is through image whitewashing. One way this happens is through large donations to museums or schools in return for a family name on a building or a gallery wing. This is exemplified in the Sackler family's donation to a number of academic institutions in the midst of lawsuits accusing the family of fueling the opioid crisis in the US with their company's product, OxyContin. And we can also see this in Jeff Bezos's multiple environmental donations.
$690,000 to the Australian Wildlife Recovery Fund.
That seem to attempt to counteract the dismal environmental and ethical reputation of Amazon, a union-busting company that is
big up to Lord Dubsworth in the house.
And squeezes its workers so hard that they have to pee in bottles just to complete orders. Same thing with Elon Musk.
Where's Kiara? Big up to Kiara if she's watching. Great to meet you the weekend.
And even Bill Gates, who amassed his fortune by crushing the competition with intellectual property laws and monopolies. On top of all that, multiple studies have shown that the richest 1% cause double the amount of emissions of the world's poorest 50%. So if these billionaires really want to make change, they need to first look towards the exploitative practices that are making them rich. And if you're thinking these industry titans are extremely generous, a recent study found that the richest 20 people only donated 0.8% of their wealth. Essentially, billionaires like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk are spending millions to mask the harm they cause making billions. This philanthropic whitewashing not only allows billionaires extreme cultural and political influence, but it also allows for even more financial consolidation. The way the US tax code is set up, which is where most of the richest people live, the government essentially subsidizes big-ticket giving. When a billionaire like Bezos puts billions of dollars into a donor-advised fund or gives to a nonprofit, he's then able to write that amount off in his taxes. Essentially, when Bezos donates $500 million to wildfire relief, he is then taxed less because of that. This robs the government and people of vast sums of money, and then only returns a semblance of that capital under the control of billionaires. This is an inherently undemocratic way to decide how money is distributed in our society. Maybe the most insidious effect of big philanthropy is how billionaires are now changing what change means.
I feel much more comfortable with our ability as a private foundation to allocate those funds than I do giving them to the government.
Over the past 20 years, small donor donations have decreased while mega donations have increased. The ultra-rich are slowly consolidating funding for nonprofits into the hands of the few. this rise in big-ticket donations means an increased control of what nonprofits and foundations choose to focus on. Simply put, if your organization relies on the money of Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, you'll be hesitant to criticize Tesla, Amazon, or espouse anti-capitalist views lest they pull your funding. A collective of radical feminists of color, Insight, write about this struggle in the intro to their anthology, The Revolution Will Not Be Funded. After securing funding from the Ford Foundation in early 2004, Insight developed 2 projects dedicated to abolishing state and interpersonal violence. Yet 6 months later, the Ford Foundation suddenly pulled its funding because of Insight's vocal support of the Palestinian liberation struggle. On a more personal note, this year I took a sponsorship from Bill Gates' private office to promote his new book, an act which I very much regret. Not only were some of the solutions in his book questionable, but I had to water down my criticism of Bill Gates to 1 line for fear of losing the sponsorship. I've since redistributed the money I received from the sponsorship, but the mere act of self-censorship was illuminating for me. If I, who wasn't reliant on that ad revenue to continue the channel, wasn't able to criticize Gates, what does that mean for a nonprofit whose very existence is tied to the quote-unquote generosity of the billionaire class? Both these instances revealed the power of financial donations as a way to control progress. Big gifts come with big asterisks. Some stipulations might just be a name on a building or a seat on the board, but some can also mean dragging organizations away from radical change and into tinkering with the status quo. They co-opt organizations and even whole departments in universities and steer them with financial capital away from substantial systems change. This is at its core undemocratic. Who decided that Bill Gates gets to be the czar of global health, or that Elon Musk gets to rule over all things electric cars and space? The moment we began to rely on the unelected, wealthy few to create change was the moment we were held hostage to their political whims. The reality is that big philanthropy helps to uphold the very system that is trashing the planet, exploiting workers, and making the ultra-rich richer. The money that Gates and Musk are committing to climate action, for example, only seem to entrench their techno-optimist worldview. They're pouring billions into untested technological solutions like cloud seeding and carbon capture that have yet to be tested at scale. While these technologies are important to understand and research,
I'm just going to come in, okay, because, you know, what that guy's talking about right now, very important, but my camera's way too far over. It's like what that guy's talking about, cloud seeding, what he just talked about. Why aren't we allowed to talk about it? We cannot talk about this subject. What's wrong with that? Everything, you know, it's just so wrong.
They are certainly not the answer to climate change like Musk and Gates seem to think. In addition, these techno solutions are appealing to the likes of Gates and Musk because they don't require any loss of money, power, or status. In fact, implementing a technology developed by Bill Gates' climate venture initiative like cloud seeding at scale would only amplify Bill Gates' power. Much like what we're seeing him do now with the hoarding of vaccines through the lionization of patents.
The recipe for these vaccines to be shared would be helpful. And do you think that would be helpful?
No.
Gates could exert political control and influence through the very sky above us. The reality is that true climate action will not be funded by billionaires. The world they live in and the system that has made them rich is the very same one that is fueling the climate crisis. True progress and true action means taking power away from billionaires through heavy taxation and the simultaneous building of movements rooted in truly democratic and collective ideals. Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk don't know what small towns and city neighborhoods need. Only the residents know. So these billionaires shouldn't be the ones deciding the course of action. Take, for example, Mark Zuckerberg. In his arrogance, he threw $100 billion at Newark to revitalize the city's school system. The man had barely even visited the place, and after funneling $100 million into a foundation, not much changed. In part because the foundation had little interaction with any of Newark's community groups or residents. And Newark's mayor at the time heavily criticized Zuckerberg, saying you can't just cobble up a bunch of money and drop it in the middle of the street and say, this is gonna fix everything. real changes in terms of climate action and justice more broadly means transforming the entire world through people-oriented movements. We need to move from worker exploitation to worker liberation, from environmental degradation to environmental stewardship, from white supremacy to racial justice. And this can't happen if billionaires are still hoarding wealth and deciding what change they feel comfortable with. If, for example, instead of keeping it, Jeff Bezos redistributed the wealth he gained in the pandemic to Amazon workers, they would each receive a bonus worth $105,000. Taxing the wealthy is essential in the struggle for progress, but it's not the only thing we can do. Looking within our communities, towards mutual aid groups or grassroots organizations building people power like Insight, instead of looking towards the scraps that capitalist monarchs throw us, is essential because climate and justice solutions will only last if they are created by and for communities. Real change means the loss of power for billionaires and the transference of that power into the hands of billions. Watching this video, you might have noticed that I barely touched on the massive donations coming from conservative billionaires like the Koch family. Well, I actually did write a section all about conservative billionaires and their political influence, but it didn't really fit well with the rest of the video. So I've uploaded that section as an extended edition of this video on the streaming platform my creator friend.
We have a small music break. So yeah, but anyway, hope everyone enjoyed that little video. We're gonna have a little music break. I've got to get some clips together in order. But yeah, big up to everybody that Papa P, it's Nancy. Nancy Pelosi was spotted in San Fran. So anyway, Andy Pandy, how you doing, mate? We're awesome to meet you as well. My voice is only just back today. So yeah, also my plans have changed a lot since the weekend. I am still going away, but I'm not going away in the time frame that I had put forward earlier. So it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, it's all good, and we will find out soon. Anyway, Idiot Sandwich, good to have you in the chat. Sam, you look at Woodrunner. I for an eye will do yeah, let's continue. A little bit of pirate radio music break, 10-minute music break. All the crew on stage, what a video.
I understand. This has been a painful year in a painful decade. We're living through a pandemic that continues to ravage communities in every corner of the globe. Climate change wreaking havoc on our planet, with the most vulnerable suffering most of all. The few weaponizing lies and disinformation at the expense of the many. And from the horrific war in Ukraine to the rolling back of constitutional rights here in the United States, we are witnessing a global...
You're gonna need a bigger boat. You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Sorry guys, right, that's what happens when you actually like click a different scene on OBS. Yeah, we continue.
Long time ago. I mean, I first met, I was with Jim Sterling, Richard Rogers, and Norman Foster. That must be, what, 40 years ago? And I was always interested in architecture. Saw their early work. I think it was at Reading, I think, the first work I saw of Norman's. So we go back a long way. I mean, he's been doing literally hundreds of buildings, all of high quality.
Who mixes the Rothschilds with drum and bass? It's Friday night, it's EKoM Friday. Let's continue. Big up to Lance, big up to Rise Above crew as well. Master Lee, Sheep Farm, Sam, Kano, everybody. Love you all.
A lot of the things that I've done have perhaps touched on Norman's work. I was chairman of the trustees of the National Gallery, and Norman submitted a scheme. That was when we first met seriously, I think, in professional terms. He did a wonderful scheme. He was competing against the world's greatest architects. I mean, Norman did a great scheme. And then he went on to help with the pedestrianisation of Trafalgar Square, which was carried out beautifully. I think it was 1989, another thing that...
Enough, Jacob. Time for some music. Big up to Isis as well. Big up to Becky S. and her boyfriend, not Simon, I can't remember his name now. But everybody, just so good to meet everybody. Big up to SS. He's not of the SS, he's just SS. Great guy. Big up to Matt James. Anybody's body sore after archery? I've been a cripple all week. Big up to Bishop Matt.
Oh, the smell of napalm in the morning.
Friday night is EKoM Fridays. Alright, let's move on tonight. Question mark. Big up to Jacob in the house. Welcome, welcome.
When somebody makes you say it, then, and it's true, then it just makes it more beautiful to say. Who are you? Who are you?
Funeral has been held of the Prince and 80th Grand Master of the Sovereign Order of Malta, Fra Giacomo Delatore del Tempio di Sanguinetto, who passed away on the 29th of April in Rome after an incurable disease.
Gosh, right, let's move on tonight. Maybe should I keep going, guys, or what? What should we do? Question mark. Let me know in the chat. I do want to kind of grow this channel, so yeah, longer the stream the better almost.
you do if you's got some ash in your pocket and you was stopped by a copper? Do you A, say I is guilty, I know I has done wrong, I is very, very sorry? Do you B, take it out of your pocket, tell the copper that he's got his shoelaces undone, and then stick it up your ass? Or do you C, tell the copper he got his shoelaces undone, and then stick it up his ass? Or do you D, get out your AK and blow him away? You was gonna go down anyway, why not go down in style? Remember, you can ask the audience, go 50-50 or ring your dealer.
How many of us feel battered, helpless, in the face of the seemingly endless stream of disasters and devastation? I understand. This has been a painful year in a painful decade. We're living through a pandemic that continues to ravage communities in every corner of the globe. Climate change wreaking havoc on our planet, with the most vulnerable suffering most of all. The few weaponizing lies and disinformation at the expense of the many. And from the horrific war in Ukraine to the rolling back of constitutional rights here in the United States.
Something very big is coming, my people. I can feel it in the air. I feel it in my spirit. And the visions that I'm having are non-stop. Last night vision, let me tell you about it. I was sitting in my chair, my thinking chair like I am right now. And all of a sudden I seen water just rise up to the floor. And I looked up the window and I seen a massive tornado about to touch ground. My first instinct was like, oh, I gotta find my granddaughter. So I found my granddaughter, Skylar. But my great niece, Ansley, was with her as well. So I grabbed her and had them both around the house. And then my wife was up there for me.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
On screen right now is the collection of art, Renaissance art in Walderton Manor, the Rothschilds, Oxfordshire estate, which I do believe has a pyramid. How about that?
done so much for women. Do tell. No more aprons, first of all. Oh, do we finally have a butler to cook for us? Oh gosh, no, you'll just eat pre-made greasy crap out of a bag on your way to and from work. Suppose that sounds convenient, so I get to work outside the home? Totally. You get to sit in a cubicle all day while you stare at a computer screen, chugging coffee. So liberating, right? 2, where you can do anything a man can do. I am so excited to finally be here. You are going to love it. Feminism has done so much for women. Do tell. No more aprons, first of all. Oh, do we finally have a butler to cook for us? Oh gosh, no, you'll just eat pre-made greasy crap out of a bag on your way to and from work. Suppose that sounds convenient. Where you can do anything a man can do. I am so excited to finally be here. You are going to love it. Feminism has done so much for women. Do tell. No more aprons, first of all. Oh, do we finally have a butler to cook for us? Oh gosh, no, you'll just eat pre-made greasy crap out of a bag on your way to and from work. Suppose that sounds convenient. So I get to work outside the home? Totally. You can just sit in a cubicle all
guys, in the chat, do comment on this video in the top left corner. What the fuck is this all about? Are we governed by robots? Serious question. Turn it up, it's EKoM Friday, let's do it. He literally can't help himself, can he?
Where shall I take the show? Shall I focus just on the royal things, or shall I look at the other news that is indeed happening in this country?
I was going to play this now, actually. Well, hang on. 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes.
In the occult and one of the largest collections of books of
I don't have a huge collection. Somebody wrote I had 20,000 books. I'd had to live in a bath. I have maybe 4 or 5. I have The Devil Rides Out, first edition, signed to me by Dennis Wheatley. There's a book just come out about him called The Devil is a Gentleman. And I have met people who claimed to be Satanists, who claimed to be involved with black magic, who claimed that they not only knew a lot about it, but as I said, I've certainly haven't been involved, and I warn all of you, never, never, never. You will not only lose your mind, you lose your soul. I don't have a big library in the account, no. I know, look, the internet and the media, if they can't think of something to do, they invent it. If they can't think of something to say, I mean, they invent it. I don't know who thought that one up. Looks good in print, I suppose, but it's not true.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Shall I focus just on the royal things, or shall I look at the other news that is indeed happening in this country? And I'll be honest with you.
Right, we're going to get into.
We're
going to get into a little bit of purple royal news. I'm going to play this clip. I'm going to comment on some of the psychological barriers and psychological pits that they draw people into. Check it out.
Decision for the period of national mourning anyway, to stay focused on the royals. And I don't know about you, but I'm quite enjoying the escape from some of the, let's put it mildly, negativity that has been going on in this country, and that seems to kind of I don't know, pervade the news cycles sometimes. So I'm certainly enjoying focusing on you know, kind of the niceness of the togetherness, the ceremonies, the music, it's just the sense of community that I'm experiencing over these last few days. And if it's okay with you.
Neolithic Woodrunner, yeah, very, very good point. It's Assassin's Creed, a lot of computer games, they give so much away, big time.
As well. I want you to get in touch with me. gbviews@gbnews.uk is my email address, or you can tweet me at gbnews. I want Your stories, your thoughts, your reflections, your memories of our late Queen. Did you meet her? Get in touch, tell me your stories. I'll have some of your stories coming up throughout the programme. And if you're watching, not listening, you'll see on the screen as we speak. Live picture now coming in from Westminster Hall. That is, of course, where Queen Elizabeth is laying in state. Lots of people showing their respects. And I have to say, what a broad spectrum the crowd is there. You've got old, look, I mean, if you're looking at your screen there, and you've got, I don't mean to be rude, but quite an elderly man, alongside quite a young child there. And that's the beauty for me that I've seen over these last few days. Just so many people from all walks of life, different nationalities, from all parts of the UK and way beyond, coming together. Making friends, building memories, and partaking in history in the making. This will be what our children, our grandchildren, learn about in their schools for years and years to come. Phil has been in touch from Rugby, saying, good evening, Michelle. Today I left Rugby at 6:03 a.m. I like the precision there, that's good detail. He left Rugby at 6:03 a.m. He joined the back of the queue at Southwark Cathedral at 7:48 a.m, arrived at Westminster Hall at 1:30 and back home in time for Jubes and Kerr. I love it. Do tell me your experience. He says he will sum it up in 3 words, worth the wait. What about you, Herm? Have you been to see the Queen? Are you going to see the Queen?
And what's with the lead-sealed coffin? What's that all about?
That's the camp that I'm in. I see it, and it's getting longer and longer, isn't it? So I haven't made my mind up yet. But tell me your thoughts. GBviews at gbnews.uk is the email address to get in touch. Now, in a poll commissioned this week by GB News, we asked people about the future of the monarchy. Where do you stand on this? Should it remain, or should there be an elected head of state? Well, in the poll, 63% of the people asked agreed that yes, they were in favour of the monarchy.
And Sam just mentioned that. It's so funny. Even the polls, even everything, 3 and 6. Say no more.
Are you one of those people? And 75% said Queen Elizabeth's legacy was good for Britain. And nearly 60% had a favourable impression of King Charles. I've got to be honest, I thought it'd be a bit higher than that, actually. Obviously, people do think very highly of the late Queen, but as you can see, there's 20% that haven't made their minds up about King Charles. Goodness me, I think that's a bit harsh. Henry, where do you sit on this? Let's talk, shall we, about the future of the monarchy. What will it look like? What should it look like?
Well, those figures, I agree with you, Michelle, are quite surprising, because actually they fall within the range of popularity for the Queen and the monarchy of her whole reign, which has been between around 60 and 80% all that time, figures that politicians would kill for. The only time it dipped dramatically was at the death of Diana in 1997. So it looks like the sad death of the Queen hasn't increased the amount of people who support her, but I imagine it will intensify that feeling for her.
Oh, of course it will intensify it, of course, you know. It will intensify the feeling of what somebody, I think she got £72 million a year for doing nothing. Anyway, I'm not going to criticise. I'm actually not going to give my opinion at all about what's going on. I'm just presenting information and you can make your mind up. King Sausage Fingers. Eye for an eye, big up. Sail away, welcome also.
And completely respect Republicans. I'm not one myself. I'd have thought very few Republicans would be likely to be converted to becoming monarchists by the last week.
Yeah, maybe like not a staunch Republican may not be converted, but I imagine that there's lots of people, perhaps that have been like me previously. I've never been really...
Apocalypse Drifter with a 33. Is that you, Antichrist?
I've got to say, the events of the last few days, they've really engaged me with the royal family. They've given me a lot of respect for the royal family. I look now at Charles, a man that's just lost his mum, straight into work, straight into duty, putting his country before his own feelings, his own sense of grief. And I hugely respect that. So for me personally, and I wonder at home, by the way, are you like me? Were you in the same camp as me? I suspect that a lot of middle ground people have been converted.
Well, it is one of the great attractions of the royal family that it is the ultimate family. Very few families where we know the names of a mother, her daughter, her grandchildren, her great-grandchildren. And I agree with you, I've just been to Green Park on the way to the studio here to see the huge piles of flowers left for the Queen. And there's a really extraordinary feeling there. I mean, I'm a monarchist anyway, but even if you weren't, there's something very unusually inspiring. People are very serious, but there's a tremendous friendliness. This crowd is not leaving a single piece of rubbish, I notice. And everyone, including very irritable people, including myself, they don't mind these big crowds. I normally hate crowds, but actually people are so good-natured to each other. I haven't heard a single cross word. I've been in London all this past week. And I think even if you aren't a monarchist, it's a completely remarkable occasion, particularly if, like me, you've been a Londoner all your life. I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Yeah, I said this a couple of days ago and I got criticised because what I was saying is that being a Northerner, I do like to chat to people. I like to make small talk. I like to look at people.
Yeah. You're not like us grumpy Londoners.
Yeah, but I said that, and I said, actually, I'm noticing that over the last few days, people are getting eye contact, people are smiling, people are, like, just being good-natured and kind. And I got a lot of criticism saying, oh, that you're talking nonsense, Michelle. Londoners have always been friendly and open. I'm thinking...
No, you're quite right. In fact, I stood by the curb when the Queen's hearse went by a couple of nights ago in Hyde Park, just near the studio. And I'm normally very grumpy and unfriendly, but I started chatting to the people on either side, just almost naturally, and we had a chat. We were waiting for an hour, and it is very unusual. That doesn't normally happen.
Yeah, we have so few opportunities now to have these sorts of collective experiences, especially after the past 2 years. We're expressly discouraged from having collective experiences. I think there is that hunger and that drive for something that we can hold in common, that we can reach out. I spent the whole day today in cafes working, and yeah, that's the impression that I got. As I was walking down the street, there were tables that were sat, you know, people who obviously were not in the same party were talking to each other, and they were all talking about the Queen. And at the cafe that I was sitting at, they were all talking about the Queen, and they were strangers talking to each other and debating things like, you know, hospital appointments being cancelled on Monday. And they were saying, well, the Queen wouldn't have wanted that. You know, that's not clearly what she had in mind, was not to cancel people's treatment, that sort of thing. And it was like people talking about political issues, but in a very jovial way, and we haven't seen that with all of the sort of tribalism and everybody at their throats. I feel like people want that kind of collectiveness, and you can feel that. There's that energy in the air.
Yeah, and I wonder, Henry, because, you know, I alluded to it a second ago about other news and stuff. There's so many things that have happened to this country recently that haven't been that great, to put it mildly. And I think as a nation, we've been very divided over things like Brexit. We're then divided again over things like COVID and the reaction and response to that. We've then had this whole kind of political change, a new Prime Minister, which has kind of divided people again. And I wonder, because of course it's a sad event, a sad affair, but I wonder if it could be a catalyst for change, like lasting change. You know, for people, like you just said, you were a bit grumpy, you wouldn't normally talk to people around that you don't really know perhaps. Can that be a lasting legacy, you think?
Well, I hope so, but people said similar things, didn't they, during COVID and the pandemic and during lockdown. They thought, would we have permanent changes in our behaviour? And I don't know about both of you, but on the whole, most of us sprung back.
What do you think about having long-lasting change? You know, even like, I think Don mentioned it last night, even the way that how long has she not been here for? Because she couldn't have been announced passed away during the nonsense, you know, or all the like what they said last night about the James Bond movie, the James Bond movie and the Queen. It's all timed to literally. It's like a movie. It's literally like a movie, isn't it? It really is. It's it's just, we sit back and watch it, and it's just like, fucking hell. It's just relentless. It's just, wow. You know, it's making me think, I've thought for a while, are we supposed to win? I don't think we are. We're supposed to win. What is winning? That is a deep subject, but yeah, I think what's going on now, I think winning is actually being true to yourself, creating a community, being with like-minded people like Ratri, etc., and just living, well, say living life, because, you know, living life is, it's not as easy as it used to be, is it? It really isn't. I don't care what you say, but it really isn't. Yeah, it's really interesting. So, anyway, it's just nuts, you know. Depends how we look at it. And also, guys, let me know in the chat, the next episode for EKoM is 33, believe it or not. What subject should I do for that? I was thinking Master Lee, or then I was thinking also the occult, the Illuminati. We go deep into it. Neolithic Woodrunner, we are observers, etc. Exactly. Let's continue with this shit show. Oh, shit show. Oh.
To how we behaved before. So I imagine I will return to my grumpiness.
Will you?
Yeah, I don't take any pride, but this cannot last forever. I mean, it's a wonderful, what will it be, end up being almost 2 weeks, but I think gradually we will return to our characters, most humans do.
And in fact, I think this will be a very short-lived surge in popularity, because already, for example, I'm Canadian.
Right, Andy Pandy, check this out, okay? I made this earlier today. I'm going to play it again. It's only a few minutes long, but what's this keep doing that for? Sorry, just a sec. Oh my god. Software tonight is not playing border. Right, there we go. There we go. Right, check us out, okay? I made this earlier today. I love it. Check it out.
Curfew is now in effect. All unauthorized citizens must stay indoors.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Canadian, so I've been following the Canadian news. Obviously, Canada's part of the Commonwealth, and political figures initially sort of come together and saying, God save the king, this sort of thing. And almost immediately, the discourse online has shifted, where it's been, oh, Prince Charles, shady connections to the Klaus Schwabs of the world, this sort of thing. And I think that the culture war is going to take this over very, very quickly. I think that the popularity that you just showed for King Charles is probably going to wane as, that tight-lippedness of the Queen fades away, and the sort of younger royals don't have that. We know full well what they believe about things, and that's going to cause a lot of controversy, I think, moving forward, and a lot of divisiveness.
Yeah, and this is interesting, isn't it? Because we saw King Charles, who so many of us have only ever known as Prince Charles, and we know his views, we know the charities that he's either been instrumental in setting up or kind of supporting. And, he said, didn't he, that was one of the things that he said, that he was going to be different, he was going to make some changes. But to Ashley's point, Henry, we know this person to a degree. We know his thoughts, his feelings. So can you just almost have a personality change and then adopt this kind of different layer of, I'm going to be neutral?
Well, I think he said it in his speech the other day, and he said it before, that when he was Prince of Wales, he had more freedom to say what he wanted and to back those various campaigns. Now he realises he's got to be more neutral. And the other thing you realise, he's got a huge amount of things to actually do all day. I mean, this is unprecedented, having to spend his time in a very creditable way going around all the constituent nations of the United Kingdom. But as monarch, he'll have literally physical things he has to do all day. He'll have less time to indulge those causes, even if he wanted to. So I think he will just change, if only by logistics.
I've been asking you at home, by the way, your thoughts on all of this. Where do you stand on it? Are you someone who's feeling lots of sorrow at the moment? Are you more kind of feeling perhaps optimistic about the future? Are you someone that's sitting there saying, oh, Michelle, shut up and start talking about something else? Tell me, I want all of your thoughts tonight. Get in touch, gbviews@gbnews.uk. And I was just being specifically asking as well, have any of you met the Queen? Did you have any good reflections, any memories to share? One of my viewers, Sophie from Surrey, she had the fantastic privilege of meeting the Queen by accident when she visited Queen Mary University of London. Let's take a listen.
I had the very great privilege of meeting the Queen completely by accident when she visited Queen Mary College, University of London, probably in the early 90s, I think it was. And unfortunately, much to my shame, when I look back on it, I was a typically impatient student. They closed the library. I wanted them to reopen the library, and I was pretty much focused on that. And I hadn't expected to see the Queen, let alone meet her personally. So whilst I waited to be able to get back into the library, to my very great amazement, she suddenly burst out of the fire doors of the Queen's building, having escaped her security and her academic guides. Without missing a beat, she asked me whether I was enjoying university, what I was studying, all those lovely polite questions. And her eyes were twinkling at me, and her smile was really encouraging. She was really good at putting people at her ease, and I've heard other people say that, and it really is true. And I had this strange sense of familiarity, having grown up seeing images of the Queen on TV, but it was truly surreal to see her face to face.
Oh, I love it. Keep your stories coming in, gbviews@gbnews.uk. Tweet me at gbnews. Now, thousands upon thousands of people queued for hours and are still queuing as we speak, by the way, to see the Queen's lying in state. GB News reporter Paul Hawkins.
Right, I'm just going to comment, okay, because I was wondering about this earlier. I watched like half an hour of this, right? I'm going to comment on it as well, because who's on screen is it Laura, not Dewsbury, is it? I can't remember her name. She won The Apprentice years ago, but they're really bigging up the queues. They're creating demand, and it's just part of the operation, I think.
is at Lambeth Bridge with the queue. Good evening, Paul. How's it going?
Michelle.
Is the rain holding off?
The rain is holding off, actually. The weather is definitely playing ball with the queue continuing to move behind us, as you can see at the moment. It's stretching 4.6 miles all the way back to Southwark Park from where we are at the moment. The mood continues to be, one would even say, quite jovial. People are just getting on with it. They're making friends in the queue, passing each other's teas and coffees, taking breaks to go to the loo. Of course, it's such a well-organised, ordered system that you can do that. And when they get to the front, though, on the other side, we are told that the queue is slowing down. Once they enter the Great Hall just behind me, there's a huge security tent there. And once they have to have their bags checked, have their clothes checked, that is slowing the queue time down. So once you get over the bridge on the other side, the queue does slow down. But at the moment, it's moving along very nicely. People queuing from not just all parts of the UK, but from all over the world.
Lord Doomsworth, it was a struggle, but we do have to think about Dom at Sheep Farm. He must watch a load of fucking like BBC. Oh, just I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that.
I'll leave you to it, Paul. We'll catch up with you a bit later on. It's funny what he says there about the atmosphere almost being jovial, actually, because I went over yesterday, actually, to go and have a look, just to be among it, talk to people. And I have to say, and I almost felt a little bit guilty at points, because I quite enjoyed it. And then I had to keep saying to myself, Michelle, what are you doing? This is like people queuing up to go and see a coffin. It's not a fun event. But actually, there was a real, I felt anyway, like an upbeat, such a nice community atmosphere. People were full of kind of good spirits, making friends, chatting, and I enjoyed it.
Well, it's a celebration of a life. It's not a tragedy in the sense that obviously Princess Diana's death was a tragedy. This was someone who died too soon. Now, this is a life that was very long, that was very full, and was a life of a very respected person. And so it is a celebration of someone's life, but it is a tragedy in one sense. And I think, it's become a sort of a cliche, it's the end of an era. But in a more sort of social sense, it really is the end of an era, because we're seeing out the last of that generation. We're seeing out the last people who lived through the epoch-defining moments of the 20th century, and that was in their living memory. Who have living memories of the Second World War, for example, and she was in the center of all of that. She was, they called her the Queen of the World in some of her tributes, and in that sense, it is a tragedy. Like, I just lost my grandfather a few months back. He was 94 years old. And it felt really tragic. And it's sort of like, how is someone who's in their 90s, how is that tragic, right? That's what we all want. We want to live to a ripe old age. But in a way, it was tragic, because there's no one left to ask those questions to, And so I think people want to be there. People want to queue, because we are witnessing the end of something really important, the end of the long 20th century in a way.
Yeah, and what you're watching on TV now, by the way, if you're watching the picture with us tonight, you can see the guards actually changing over now, as they do very regularly. And I've got to say, I just find the whole kind of the colours, the sense of occasion, the traditions, I find it quite beautiful. And I have to say, Harry, I have to pinch myself, because this is not the kind of person I don't think I was 2 weeks ago. I don't know what's happening to me.
Well, if you look at that screen now, one of the wonderful things about this coverage is going to, as it were, the greatest hits of British architecture. Westminster Hall might
I'm sorry,
have a claim to be the best building.
Arthur, we have to pause for a moment here. We have got some breaking news.
It was built by William Rufus, William the Conqueror's son, 900, almost 1,000 years ago. Those walls are. Then the roof above it was built by Richard II, and it's an extraordinary, huge building. Until quite recently, you could just walk in. Now you have to.
It's really funny that they're just talking about the huge walls being built by King Rufus. Now, I think Brutus was his son, or a relation anyway, and it goes back to giants again, Albion, Mag, and Magog. It's nuts. It really is nuts.
To get to the Commons, but it's a survivor of the Royal Palace, and the Palace of Westminster is still called the Palace of Westminster because it's still a royal palace. And so for those people in that building, it's incredible to go into that room, even when Her Majesty's coffin isn't there. But with that coffin there and those various members of the armed forces, it's a completely spectacular sight, which you will see, once every 70 years.
Don't you just want to be there? That's the feeling that it is, because it's to say that you were there at the end of something, because the Queen had a mystique that I don't think her successors are going to have. And so this is really the last time you're going to be saying goodbye to a monarch that had some mystery, that had some values that are really gone now. There were very few times where she broke with that kind of that stoicism, and now it's where everybody has become humanized, perhaps in a negative sense of like, come on everyone, the royals now are, everyone display your weakness, let's talk about mental health constantly, this sort of thing, whereas she represented that mystery. And we're not going to see that, I don't think, for King Charles. Will people be lining up like that?
Well, also the pure length of the reign, no disrespect at all to King Charles, but unless he lives to 143, you're not going to see a length of reign like that. So that is one of the most spectacular things. As so many people have been saying, it covers all our lifetimes. I'm the editor of a magazine called The Oldie, and we have some readers who are over 100. Some of them were born before the Queen. Wow. But from whenever they were sentient, they would have heard of Princess Elizabeth. So there's literally no one in this country, I'd say, who has been sentient and not been aware of her existence, and that's completely remarkable.
Yeah, and I like it when you see people taking their kids as well. And I've got to say, I will be wheeling my little one up in his pram somewhere in the vicinity, I imagine, on Monday morning, just so I can take some pictures of him, so that when he, gets with it, I can say to him, look, you were there when you're learning about it at school. Mummy took you, there you are, eating your goodness knows what, your 27th snack to keep you quiet, and there you are, you're being photographed. And I do
remember I went to the Silver Jubilee pouring with rain in London when I was 5, and it's one of my earliest memories. I suppose it's such an unusual thing to do. I remember lots of bunting and Union Jacks, but it is very memorable because it's so unusual, a scene like this.
Yeah, and Ashley, one of the things that people are writing in about, and I find this is kind of, but it divides people a lot, does this topic, about Harry. And people are saying, Mike's just emailed in about his uniform, whether or not he should be wearing uniform and all this and all that. And I think there's been a lot of focus put on Harry and Meghan, hasn't there, over the last few days. And I've got to say, some of it makes me a little bit uncomfortable because in places and in parts, I think it's just become quite nasty. Where do you stand on it?
Yeah, I mean, it's an awkward kind of situation for anyone who has been critical of the monarchy in the past. Obviously, when something like this happens, this is the time for example, for Republicans to come out and to, it's on the front page, it's on the headlines, now's the time to put forward your claims. But it's also the very worst time to put forward your claims because it's disrespectful. And so I did feel really bad for Prince Harry when he came out and people were booing and hissing at him because people know that what they've said about the firm, and the kind of negative light that they've put on it. And now they have to be seen very, very publicly at a time like this. I do feel quite bad. It's going to be very difficult, I think. I mean, he had a book, a memoir, that was due out in November. Yeah. That's had to be pushed back. And that's going to be a very iffy kind of thing that's going to throw them into the spotlight again, and perhaps in a very, very negative light because of, it being so fresh, this death being so fresh.
Yeah, where do you stand on Meghan and Harry? Harry? See what I did there?
Well, I think the poor man, has lost his grandmother, and then he obviously lost his mother in tragic circumstances. The thing is, I think there's still a residual groundswell of affection for him, notwithstanding those boos. If he were to say, in a couple of months' time, I've realised it was crazy to write a memoir, I love my grandmother so much, I'm stopping it all together, stop all the complaining about the royal family, I think we'd take him back into our hearts. If he does publish that memoir and it's full of more gripes about the royal family, and if he's at all rude about this occasion, particularly they're not wearing military uniform, I think he's playing a very, very dangerous game then. But that's pure speculation.
Yeah, and there has been an awful lot of speculation, hasn't there, in the last few days. Just there's a part of me that just makes me kind of bristle a little bit, because I think, some of the stuff that's getting said about particularly Meghan, it's not nice, it's not pleasant.
I agree, yeah. And in the same way that I think it's perfectly legitimate for Republicans to speak peacefully. Now, I thought the man who protested during in Edinburgh, fine to be a Republican, don't call Prince Andrew rude names just when his mother's died. So now let hostilities be put aside, and then perhaps we return to our normal nature in a couple of months' time.
Yeah, and we're sticking on the screen. These are the scenes live in Westminster Hall, where Queen Elizabeth, of course, is lying in state. And I've got to be honest, I'm quite a nosy Parker. I do like people watching, and I find it fascinating. I could sit and watch this for quite some time, because I just find the way that people react, people respond. These are people that have queued for hours and hours, for miles and miles. And I just find it quite fascinating what they do when they get in front of the coffin. I mean, obviously, you will be at some point seeing people like MPs who haven't queued. We discussed that yesterday with the Baroness, actually. Many people do actually get a fast track. We saw Theresa May there earlier on as well. They don't need to queue. I'm not a fan of that. I mentioned that yesterday. I was saying, actually, there's something about, because I was at the front of the queue yesterday, I saw many people that had sat there for nights, in some cases, sleeping on the pavement because they were so committed to that cause. And something about, you can fast track with your family if you're an MP or whatever. It makes me a bit uncomfortable, actually.
And it also shows, as you can see from those pictures, there is room for 2 more sets of rows down which the MPs and the peers go. They could be with other people there. It also shows, I'm always really interested in the bowing, that it's always said when you meet a royal member of the royal family, as a man you should bow, as a woman you should curtsy. The bowing, people are doing it almost naturally, isn't it? How do you show respect in silence? And they're doing it completely naturally. It's not awkward, and I find that very moving.
Yeah, and it's just such an assortment of people. Like I was just saying, young, old, different backgrounds, and some real characters. You see, don't you? Some real...
Nice character of a lady there.
There was, yes, there was a
would dye their hair funky colours.
Yes.
I mean, how odd is that?
Yes, if you're listening, not watching, I don't really know how to describe that lady that's just gone past. She looks very glamorous, flowers in her hair. Yes, made a real effort. Lots of people
I wasn't making fun of her, by the way. I was making fun of myself. I realised that you can't actually see me, but I've got some strange hair myself.
Oh, we don't mind a bit of strange hair.
But yeah, it's just an interesting sort of spectacle of bringing so many people together, and it kind of underscores one of the benefits of having a monarchy is, that we'll see on Monday, which is all of the world leaders coming together, because they are ostensibly anyway politically neutral. It allows for, a continuity, but also to develop relationships with different world leaders that aren't on sort of partisan political grounds. So it's not, you can have a long-term relationship that isn't dependent on a particular leader and a particular set of politics. Now, obviously, I'm a Democrat. I believe in that human beings, the masses can govern, that we are capable of self-determination. But I can see that that's one of the clear benefits, and that sort of coming together of nations is one of the clear benefits of the Commonwealth, and one of the reasons why so many countries voluntarily have wanted to join the Commonwealth.
Okay, enough psyop crap. Let's play some music and a little bit of Bruce Lee.
You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
Who are you? Who are you?
Sorry guys, I was trying to find this clip. I can't find this clip out of the play. So we go back to some drum and bass. It's Friday, it's EKoM Friday. Let's do it.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Thank you, we ain't having it. And, I'm glad you're enjoying the show. It's not my main channel.
shattered, helpless in the face of the seemingly endless stream of disasters and devastation. I understand. This has been a painful year in a painful decade. We're living through a pandemic that continues to ravage communities in every corner of the globe. Climate change wreaking havoc on our planet, with the most vulnerable suffering most of all.
Shut up, Harry. It's EKoM Friday. Let's do it. Oh, wrong one. Ah! Let's do it.
Demonstrate our sound, rise above posse, yes we touch it down. And either way we bust these lyrical messages throughout your avenues and terraces. If you ain't down with us, I'll be your nemesis. I'll shake your brain inside this go until you need a therapist. Rockin' in the snow, listen, hold your position. Come around and it politician, contemplation, in cook condition. Taking it, moments in the tongue, and when it comes to execution. Motivation, we're not intuition, like the execution. Brick and bone, so you
Why so serious?
Milk was a bad choice.
Showing it again! They're taking the caption away! So disgusting.
Melvin, guys and gals.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Got some ash in your pocket and you were stopped by a copper. Do you A, say I is guilty, I know I has done wrong. I is very, very sorry. Do you B, take it out of your pocket, tell the copper that he's got his shoelaces undone, and then stick it up your ass? Or do you C?
Yeah, MC Manic is Johnny. He's a great guy. He watches my show, actually. Big up to MC Manic and Lance. It's EKoM Friday.
A woman has its own duty, and a man has its own duty, and a lady cannot do the duty of a man, and a man cannot do a duty of a woman.
Can a man become a woman?
No.
No?
No.
What about a transgender? Transgender?
No.
No?
It look like if you want to become a lady but you're a man, you have something wrong.
I'm sorry. Arthur, we have to pause for a moment here. We have got some breaking news.
Right, I'm going to play this episode from Donut. It's important. It links to what we were saying, and we will get back to the music in a minute.
There's a major event about to happen worldwide. Yo, what up? It's Donut, and you tuning in to all your Illuminati news. A lot of strange things are happening correlated to certain dates during late September and early October. From the Queen's passing to the Biebs canceling his concert. It might not seem connected, but it is. It is all pointing to the end of September and early October. September 30th, all of the church's liquid assets from all over the world need to be moved to the Vatican Bank. Was this a signal? It happened right before the Queen's passing, a huge red flag. One day after that, on October 1st, German platoons will be patrolling the streets. Also on September 30th, the Bank of England will be withdrawing all legal tender of 20 and 50 paper banknotes. This new money, do they have microchips in them? Ireland's biggest bank will be removing cash services from 70 branches. The switch will take effect between September and October. All these major events are taking place September, October. Even Denver is giving out free bug out bags for people to prepare for the month of September. A man in the German parliament told the world to prepare for September the 24th, 2022, stating that something so dramatic will happen that you will remember this date forever and where you were at. September 24th, 2022 is a 666 date. Something is happening in the background, and it looks like certain people are preparing.
You can stop by and get a free bug out bag. This is all being put on by Denver Emergency Management on Saturday, September 24th. September 24th.
The echoes of 2008 are repeating, even Michael Burry warning of a crash. Europe could see a devastating Lehman Brothers event with 1.5 trillion in margin calls. That 5-1 number, the Illuminati founding date. The Queen died at 96, 9 plus 6, 15 with that 5-1. The Queen passed 911 days after the WHO declared an emergency. The Queen's passing has a lot of cryptic symbology to the kickoff of strange events to come. 33 million watched the Queen's death. degree of secret societies. Canada will be getting new coins and banknotes for the 33 Commonwealth nations. The Queen's face is on so many countries' money because of her allodial title. If you hold allodial title, you can have your picture on the banknotes. Allodial title, the ownership of real property that is independent of any superior landlord. Property, not just land. What constitutes property? The role of the Queen is hidden in plain sight. They say there is no monarchy and they don't have any power. Well, is that true? The power of the Queen and wealth of the royal family in the hierarchy of this earth goes back to the Hammurabi Code. That's when the royal lineages were established. Right before the Queen's passing, there was the Commonwealth Games. The beast ritual, King Charles, was 007. 007 was John Dee, the occultist for the British Empire. He even coined the term British Empire, which was changed to the Commonwealth. There has always been cryptic messages within numbers. 9 plus 11 is 20, and on the $20 bill there's an cryptic message of 2 towers. This is all leading to putting nature on the blockchain and the elite's wealth taking it back and commoditizing it onto the stock market. The old systems are passing away. We are entering a new world of the Internet of Things. Digital IDs will be the method for business travel and access to the world. This is why there has been so much pressure on farmers, because they still own a lot of the land. Serfdom is being taken place in the West right now, a large land grab. While we're all in conflict with each other, the divide and conquer, fertilizer reduction will equal into farms failing. That land will be purchased for pennies on the dollar from billionaires. And their plans are to securitize nature, turning nature into an asset class. And to do that, they need to take back all of the land. What will the big event be? Put your comments down below. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and share this content out. Anyway, it's Donut. Have a great day, great night, and God bless you.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Now then, guys and gals.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
And he says, why so serious?
You know, what I really like about the second movement is that it starts
Milk was a bad choice.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. I'm gonna play. Should I keep going with the music or should I wrap up now? Let me know in the comments. Your decision. I've got a really, really funny 7-minute song to play us out. It's new. Actually, let's play it out. Let's end there. It has been EKoM Friday. Thanks everybody for tuning in. And yeah, see you all next week.
Guru. I've known him for a number of years, and here's one of his songs, which is going to be very relevant to what we're talking about next. So go, Alex.
This is a really good song. Check it out. We ain't having it. I'm not sure. Change your mind.
Get to the chopper!
Well, we all believed in that spinning ball. Indoctrination blinded us all. From the very first day that we went to school, they put a globe in your face and that thing looked cool. The teacher explained how it all worked. Of course it sounded so berserk, but who was I to question it? Because I was just a tiny kid. It sounded crazy as could be, but teacher would never lie to me. She was real nice, she didn't know. She too was taught to believe in that globe. I don't blame her, it wasn't her fault. She was only repeating what she'd been taught. I went through life believing that lie. That spinning ball was now in my mind.
Don't let them take your mind.
Don't let them take your mind, man.
Don't let them
space on a road to nowhere. So I live my life without a care, cause I was taught that there ain't no creator. That's what I was told from my educator. So I live my life so selfishly, there ain't gonna be no hell for me. I'll do what I want with no care for others, with no respect for my brothers. Until one day when I woke up and I drank some truth with my coffee cup. I learned that things ain't what they seem. This so-called reality is just a dream. There's deception everywhere that I look. The news, the TV, and in my school books. And pretty soon I'll realize that everything's just a pack of lies, man.
Don't let them take
You'll never see me again.
Don't let them tell you that you are not divine.
Don't let them do it, man. Don't.
Take control of your soul.
Take back control. Yeah.
Find the truth. Find it all.
Find it all, man. Yeah.
Don't believe their lies.
Believe it, man.
Let them take your mind.
Let them take your mind, man. Yeah, man. It's deception on a biblical level. It's orchestrated by the devil. Many think that hate don't exist, but that's what he wants. That's one of his tricks. But I found out that that dude's real. And I tell you, man, that's a bitter pill. So I questioned everything I was told. I had to question that spinning globe. I had to relearn it all again and get some truth inside this brain. And pretty soon I realized that the globe I was taught was a pack of lies. So I studied as hard as can be. I found the flat earth conspiracy. Man, it hit me like a ton of bricks. The globe I was taught was a devil's trick.
Don't let them take your mind.
Don't let them take your mind, man.
Don't let them tell you that you are not divine.
Don't let them do it, man. Don't.
Take control of your soul.
Take back control.
Thanks everybody for watching. A few minutes to go. Yeah, see you all next week. Thank you very much. Love you all.
Let them take your mind.
Let them take your mind, man. I started to connect the dots, and I'm telling you, man, there are lots. I soon realized that the earth was flat. It's not a belief, man, it's a fact. And once I found out that reality, well, it did a funny thing to me. For a while there, I was pretty shocked, but now I know that there is a God. And once you get to that point of understanding, and once you know there ain't no moon landing, and once you know that space is fake, you view your life with a different take. It ain't just random chance that we're here. We ain't living on no stupid sphere. It ain't some ridiculous spinning ball. The earth is flat, and God created it all.
Don't let them take your mind.
Don't let them take your mind, man.
Don't let them tell you that you are not divine.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Take control of your soul.
Take back control. Yeah.
Find the truth. Find it all.
Find it all, man. Yeah.
Don't believe their lies.
Believe it, man.
Let them take your mind.
Let them take your mind, man. Well, now I found out about all these lies. I live a completely different life. Stop reading the news and turned off the TV.
Longest outro ever, but it's good.
I started being a nicer guy, and God forbid I tell a lie. I treat people with more respect, and I've got me a wife
You'll
that
see his
I've
name at the
never
end of the video.
neglected. Yeah, being good's working out.
Alex Michael, I think.
Now I ain't blinded, and I can see. I know that there is a God above, and if I'm good, then he'll show me love. I try to live life selflessly to be the best that I can be. I treat people how I want to be treated since my indoctrination was defeated. So don't believe in the devil's lies because it's God he wants to hide. That's why they teach that spinning ball to make you think you ain't special at all. Don't believe what you're being told. Don't believe that you're evolved. It's all an accident and you are too. No, you're someone special and God made you.
Don't let them take your mind.
Don't let them take your mind, man.
Don't let them tell you that you are not divine.
Don't let them do it, no.
Take control of your soul.
You gotta take back control.
Find the truth.
Find the truth.
Find it all.
Find it all, man.
Don't believe their lies.
Don't believe it.
Let them take your mind.
Don't let them take your mind.
Right, we're gonna cut it. Well, no we're not. It said copyrighted. How have I been copyrighted from an independent artist?
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Turns to me and he says, "Why so serious?"
Right, and a few more minutes and we're off. Thanks for watching. Checking out.
Curfew is now in effect. All unauthorized citizens must stay indoors.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Now then, guys and gals.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.